It used to be that you could be somewhat invisible on the internet. That's no longer the case.
Greenbay School Superintendent Stephen Murley details 3 threats against Preble High School. He says they came from social media. Greenbay police describing one as part of an Instagram post in this update.
What does that kind of investigation look like? I mean, is it calling parents, contacting students even?
So there's 2 forms that we look at. One is the reporting component. And again, very fortunate that our community has been very supportive. So whether that's students or their families or community members, screenshotting things that show up on Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook.
The second comes from cybercrimes teams through local law enforcement.
They're quick to figure out who those people are, to provide IP addresses, usernames, physical names connected to user accounts, and that allows the police to identify physical locations.
While it's not clear if that's how the third threat was investigated, Greenbay Police Lieutenant Brant Stroff gave these details in a release. He says around 7:30 Wednesday night, officers found out about another potential threat against Preble. The investigation that followed led to 3 juveniles being questioned. The lone suspect, a 16-year-old boy who confessed to posting threatening language. Police say now he's waiting in custody for recommended charges of terroristic threats to play out in the Brown County District Attorney's office. And it's not just a problem here at home. Murley says he's been in contact with school districts across the country who are all on edge after the Oxford, Michigan shooting. It's why on top of criminal charges, students making threats could face expulsion through age 21. In Green Bay, I'm Kia Murray, Fox 11 News.
Outside of the threats made specifically against Preble High School, there's now a video circulating on social media about a school shooting day. It's been described as a countrywide rumor that schools across the U.S. could be targeted for shootings today. In response, Green Bay Southwest High School is offering online classes today. And Appleton Police says it's working with the Appleton Area School District to monitor the situation.
6 days after Green Bay experienced 7 separate gunshot incidents in one night, Chief Chris Davis says there's only been one unverified claim of shots fired.
What I think we can all agree we would like to do is create conditions that discourage this issue from flaring up ever again.
City Council members Brian Johnson and Mark Stoyer organized this community listening session, saying it was long overdue.
I think this issue is finally getting the attention that it deserves. To see this fester for 2 years is too long.
In the past 2 years, the number of gunshot incidents in the city is up 315%. Instead of focusing solely on potential solutions, community members mostly peppered Chief Davis with questions.
You just came onto the job. Why don't you express your philosophy about broken window policing?
I would like to see us find ways to do the very important work of reducing crime and preventing crime and public safety issues in our community without the collateral damage that marginalizes often whole groups of people in the process.
Can you speak a little more to the demographic of these fine, upstanding citizens that are causing the problem?
It tends to be between groups of social networks almost.
The conversation inside the Neville Public Museum between Chief Davis and residents lasted well over an hour. Other community leaders chimed in from time to time, but everyone who spoke agreed this issue needs to remain in the forefront of the community.
High wind gusts and warm temperatures brought wacky weather to Wisconsin on Wednesday.
It's December in Wisconsin. It should be snowing and not thunder and lightning and gale force winds.
One Swamico resident said she heard a loud bang last night during the storm, but it wasn't until she woke up this morning that she could see the damage it caused.
When we woke up this morning, it was still dark out, and I had to bring my oldest to the bus stop. We come outside, and she goes, "Mom, look at our backyard." So it was the first time we were actually seeing it, because it was, again, dark when we woke up. And, to see all these branches down, to see the camper tipped over, it was just amazing. We've never seen winds like that.
In Green Bay, Cindy DeBush said she didn't hear a thing when the storm rolled in. But when she looked out her window the next morning, some of her furniture was missing.
Well, I got up, took my shower, came to get my coffee, looked out my window, and was like, where did my table go?
DeBush's table was not in its usual spot.
It's typically sitting on my deck, and it lifted and blew across my driveway into my neighbor's yard. That's where I found it. a steel table.
While DeBush was able to retrieve her table, Heather Frappier and her family still have many hours of cleaning in their future.
We have wonderful neighbors who've already offered to come over and help us this weekend. We'll have firewood for a very long time. As for the camper, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that.
Twisted, toppled trees on the ground, and in the air, the sounds of chainsaws could be heard at many of the 19 Door County parks.
And it's all the ones right along the water here that had the most branches down, of course. You know, you get that wind coming straight out of the west here in southwest.
Door County Parks Manager Burke Pinney says high winds swept through the region and strong waves pounded the waterfront up and down the Door County shoreline. This was the scene at Chute-Awards Dock County Park Thursday morning.
Yeah, it's you definitely don't want to be out on the water in anything today, that's for sure.
Just up the shoreline at Sugar Creek County Park, Rod Bodwin and his dog Tootsie are taking in the sights.
My dog likes to go for a ride.
Yeah.
So she just loves that. Normally I let her out, but today I don't think she wants to go out.
Bodwin says weather lately has been unpredictable, but he expects December will bring colder conditions.
Usually by the first of the year it freezes up. That's when it freezes all the way across, you know, from my experience anyway.
Meanwhile, chainsawing continues. Burke Pinney says damage here wasn't as bad as he expected.
We anticipate that we'll probably lose a few more trees or branches along the way here today, but we'll get it all cleaned up and ready for the weekend.